Shocking news out of the Big 12 today. BYU starting quarterback Jake Retzlaff has been accused of sexual assault. This is an emergency Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Stunning, absolutely stunning report that came out today from the Salt Lake City Tribune about Jake Retzlaff, the starting quarterback at BYU, who's now been accused of sexual assault. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. I want to first make it very clear that I will handle this situation with respect for all parties involved. Making it clear as well, particularly the alleged victim will be taken into account as I break this down. The focus for me is providing objective information based on what is publicly known. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't opinions here. It doesn't mean the situation is normal for what if this was a quarterback at a state school at a public university. This is a different situation that's handled from the higher ups, not necessarily from a legal standpoint or the civil lawsuit being filed, but the standpoint of BYU has an honor code. If Jake Retzlaff in November of 2023 or November of 2024 or February of that year committed a violation of that honor code, he is now subject to the rules of that honor code. Does that matter when it comes to the victim herself or whether or not this happens? Because Retzlaff is innocent until proven guilty. Maybe not in your brain. Maybe the honor code thing doesn't matter in your brain. But if my focus, if my show is about Big 12 football, the ramifications about Big 12 football with respect to Retzlaff, with respect to the victim, a big piece of this is that it isn't occurring at Cincinnati or UCF or Houston. It is occurring at BYU, where if Retzlaff did have even consensual sex, premarital sex, the use of alcohol, the use of drugs, any of those things that through this are tabbed to Retzlaff's name will play a role in whether or not he's on the field game one for BYU next season. That's where this gets even stickier than it would at a normal university. BYU is not that. They're very image-centric, and they're also the flagship university of one of the largest growing faiths in the entire world. Now, you don't get to decide this case. I don't get to decide this case. Do I think he's innocent? Do I think he's guilty? I don't have a clue in the world either way. Do you? You probably don't have a clue either. This is going to be something that unfolds over the course of the next few weeks, and we learn more and more. For now, there are just the facts of the case. Where this starts, Jake Retzlaff is accused of sexual assault today. It is reported the incident happened in November of 2023 after they had connected, according to the Salt Lake City Tribune, on social media, and it began messaging a month earlier. This is Retzlaff being sued in civil court for alleged assault, battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, asking for punitive damages from him. So this isn't him being criminally charged as of today, not being criminally charged. So he's not going to prison, but if found guilty of sexual assault, he will not play a down of football for BYU again. Shouldn't play a down of football for BYU again if he's found guilty of this. And with there being a rape kit involved, we may soon find out definitive DNA evidence of whether or not Retzlaff is guilty of this. His attorney, Mark Bate, said in a statement on Wednesday, he's a nice young man who is factually innocent. His focus this year will be on football. He wrote, "We don't try cases in the media. We will respect the process and establish Jake's innocence through the judicial system." That's the response of the attorney. I was told by Jake Hatch of Locked On Cougars, who covers BYU very closely, that it's the same. His attorney team is the same attorney team that represented Derrick Rose. And Hatch also mentioned that even as a connected journalist in Salt Lake City in the Provo area, he had never gotten smoke from this. This came out of nowhere today. And when the Salt Lake City Tribune put it out, it was very shocking to all of those in the area. To break down the case a little bit closer, the lawsuit filed by an anonymous woman identified as Jane Doe AG, who alleges that Retzlaff sexually assaulted her again in November 2023. According to the lawsuit, the woman and a friend came to Retzlaff's home after connecting on social media. After the friend left, the woman remained and the alleged incident occurred. The lawsuit reportedly claims that after kissing, the woman expressed she did not want to do anything more, but Retzlaff allegedly continued to escalate the situation with unwanted touching and demands, leading in sex that was not consensual. Again, that alleged by the victim. The woman underwent a rape kit examination at a hospital days later and reported the incident to the police. While she initially did not name Retzlaff out of fear, she later identified him. This is a very important piece to me as well here. She later identified him after a police officer reportedly mentioned another complaint against a football player. If this is connected to a string of things, and we're talking about if Retzlaff's guilty and it's a string of things, then you can bring down someone who's doing very, not just illegal, but morally wrong things. You can take someone, if all that is said here about a human being, not a BYU quarterback, but a human being who is partaking in abusing women in this way, then they should face complete legal ramifications. So if this is in a string, and the reason it came up from this woman is because Retzlaff has done this before, that's where this gets not dicey anymore. It gets objective that action has to be taken. Now, all of that is based on, to this point, her report that a police officer came to her, that the police officer had mentioned a football player, something, and then she exposed Jake Retzlaff. We will see who that police officer is and if that part's true, because if it is, that adds a very damning piece to this if he's been accused now by multiple women. Again, the attorney saying, nice young man, factually innocent. Retzlaff's going to fight this. This doesn't seem like I'm going to settle out of court. Let's keep it quiet. He is going to fight this. Neither BYU nor the Provo Police Department have publicly commented yet on the lawsuit at all. And this case is newsworthy, not only because it involves a prominent college football athlete. It was BYU starting quarterback last season. This isn't, a case that is out of the limelight, but also due to the broader implications for BYU, for the university, the national conversation surrounding sexual assault in college athletics. I went to Baylor, right? I've been close to situations like this where players were both found guilty and exonerated. It also brings up that honor code, strict rules regarding premarital, extramarital sex that's led to disciplinary actions for athletes in the past, including expulsion. It's a civil matter, but it's complex. It's a very complex situation that Retzlaff is in now. It's a complex situation for everyone involved. And you never want to hear this, especially not at a university that does represent so much more. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel.com is exactly where I go to win money. It's the NBA playoffs right now. They're in full swing. Every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, can't miss moments. Whether it's game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. Stay in the game before tip-off and live player props, performance trends, same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Which players are showing up in the biggest moments? You can track those through FanDuel's various features and combine live prop bets mid-game based on how the action's unfolding for a same-game parlay. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com. Place your first $5 bet. You'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Very tough situation, very tough show to do. I obviously ask for no pity from you, but just hope you understand that it's very, it would not be right of me to speculate too much in any direction here. And we're just going to have to see how this plays out in civil court. We're going to see how this plays out. This has been and always will be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.